Hey there, Patriots. This is Praying Medic, and it is Thursday, February 21st. This is my Q broadcast. For those of you following along at home, you can find Q posts on qmap.pub, qanon.pub, and other websites. If you have an Android device, you can get Q alerts on your phone. Q drops, Q alerts are available in the Play Store. My theme for this broadcast is a traitor's justice. All right, we're going to go back and talk a little bit about signatures and themes. Q has introduced a lot of signatures, a lot of themes over the, let's see, what is it now, 16 months that Q's been posting. And I think this last week we got a new signature. And it's debatable about what consists of a signature and what doesn't, but some of the signatures Q's used in the past: Alice in Wonderland, Snow White, Great Awakening, Calm Before the Storm, Iron Eagle, Red October, Sum of All Fears, Speed. Last April, Q Plus thanked the volunteers for their time and said the next phase of the operation would bring justice. At that time, I believe we were in phase 2, when William Barr was confirmed as the new Attorney General. This is on February 14th. So we have this interesting phrase, a traitor's justice, and we also have the first mention of phase 3. Well, that same day, Q wrote this: no mercy, no bargaining, a traitor's justice, pain. So now we have a traitor's justice moving down in the post. Sometimes a phrase that is going to be used as a theme or a signature first appears inconspicuously in the body of a post. That happened with Great Awakening on October 29th, which was one of the very first days Q posted. Q said at some point the Great Awakening will occur, whereby these false local national black leaders are corrupt and paid off to help the black population, keep them in poor and in need. Well, a few days later, Q made Great Awakening a signature. And there were quite a few posts in the first couple of months that had Great Awakening as the signature. So the president tweeted on the 18th, so this was 3 days ago: the biggest abuse of power and corruption scandal in our history, and it's much worse than we thought. Andrew McCabe, the FBI, admitted to plotting a coup when he was serving at the FBI before he was fired for lying and leaking. This is a quote from Sean Hannity on Fox News, and then the president adds treason at the end of the tweet. That same day, a few hours earlier, I think about 4 or 5 hours earlier, Q wrote something very similar, talking about the FBI and the Department of Justice. Do you believe the FBI and Department of Justice acted alone? And then Q wrote, the biggest scandal in our known history. A new word for treason will need to be invented. So you have biggest scandal in history and treason by Q, biggest abuse of power and corruption scandal in our history, and treason used by the president, kind of echoing each other. So you see where this is going. All right, on November 11th, this was 3 months ago, Q removed all previous posts from the Patriots Fight board. It's one of 2 boards that he posts on. He added a series of placeholder posts that indicated actions that would be taken by the Department of Justice in the future. And this is just a screenshot, Patriots Fight. As a result of the appointment of new Attorney General, we can expect actions from the Department of Justice with corresponding updates made to the placeholder posts. So this is a post by Q on the 18th. Look for placeholder updates at Patriots Fight. Indictments, arrests, and declass will force worldwide coverage. Leaks, bribery, collusion regarding media, that's the media colluding with the intelligence community and them receiving leaks and bribes. All of that will force resignations with follow-up criminal prosecution, Q. All right, so that is one of the first placeholders that we'll see populated in the coming weeks. I'm guessing after the Mueller investigation is over. Q posted this on the 18th. In brackets we have first placeholders, OIG report, declass, other released facts regarding 18 U.S. Code Chapter 115, treason, sedition, and subversive activities. Q. All right. You can look up 18 U.S. Code Chapter 115 on treason, sedition, and subversive activities if you're interested. So, given Q's order of operation, these would be the placeholders we'll see populated first, and they have to do with the OIG report, which Q has indicated should be coming out after the Mueller investigation wraps up. Actually, William Barr has indicated that he may be making the report to Congress as early as next week. So OIG report would be very soon coming, one of the first placeholders. Also, D-class of the documents related to Carter Page's FISA application and special counsel. Those are all placeholders that I think will be the first ones we'll see changing on Patriots Fight. James Comey tweeted out, "Every time you assault and stereotype a person, you've ripped the social fabric. Every time you see that person deeply and make him or her feel known, you've woven it." And this is a quote from David Brooks. It is right that we all need to be weavers if we are to heal our beloved country. Comey comes up with these great tweets. But Q responded, "Did the drop put you on notice? Direction to bunker down, stop talking, or risk being assaulted? A woven, elaborate nest will not save or protect you, nor will the CIA further provide you with actionable intelligence. Cold on the outside, a traitor's justice, Q." So now, Q has put a traitor's justice at the bottom. It's a signature. Now, we may never see it as a signature again, but it is interesting that Q always takes Comey's tweets as some kind of a coded message. And Q has previously indicated that the Obama administration, the deep state, the people in the State Department, are trying to wall off the guilt and suspicion and isolate it to the FBI and contain it there if possible. So it's likely Comey and McCabe are being threatened to take the fall and not implicate anybody else. All right. Q reposted this meme with all these Clapper and Brennan, Obama, Eric Holder, Bill Clinton, Laura Lynch, all behind bars. And this is the one that the president tweeted out a few months ago. So there's this question: why would Trump tweet out a meme with all these people behind bars if he wasn't planning on prosecuting them? We've got a YouTube link here. It is a link to a video featuring Q proofs. And it's about a half-hour video. It's very good. I can't include it in here for reasons of copyright protection, but I would definitely check it out. QAnon is 100% coming from the Trump administration. And Anon posted the video. Q responded, "Start from the beginning. This is a small sampling of proofs. Patriots in control. You are the news now." Q. "You are the news now" is another signature Q has been using a lot. You'll hear that a lot in this broadcast. So, and Anon, actually a shill on the board. There's hundreds of shills on the board. Responded to Q, "In control of what? And nothing. That's what." Q responded with a video. "Are you ready, shill? Survival of the fittest." Q. All right. Again, I'm not going to include the video because copyright licensing issues, but it's a good video. Scary U.S. Armed Forces. You can just look for that video. Pick it up on Q's board. And then Q posted the meme from the inauguration of the president, "We are Q." All right. So Anon posted this. I just thought this was interesting. "Do it, Q. I had a dream. You were like Vision from the Avengers last night. Your first words after you were born were, 'These people are sick.' Then you went to Trump Tower to get Trump and save the world." And it's basically what's happening. NBC News posted a tweet about the Trump administration launching a global campaign to end the criminalization of homosexuality in dozens of nations where it is still illegal to be gay. And Q posted that link to that tweet and said, "But fake news media pushes a narrative that POTUS is homophobic." So why, if Trump is supposedly homophobic, is he the one who is trying to help remove this scourge from other nations? Again, fake news is pushing a narrative. Q posted a link to a YouTube video with Joe DeGeneva. DeGeneva discusses the roles Rod Rosenstein and Andrew McCabe played in the attempt to remove President Trump from office. He also discusses briefly Trump's decision to declare a national emergency. It's a very good interview. It's pretty insightful. Sarah Carter wrote an article about the NSA and Dan Coates, the Director of National Intelligence in his office, not providing Intelligence Committee members like Devin Nunes a way to review documents about the unmasking of U.S. citizens' names under the Obama administration. Q posted a link to that article by Sarah Carter and then wrote this. And there's actually a typo in here from Q, so I'll correct that as we go. Discretion must be applied when dealing with matters of national security, sensitive ongoing investigations. Info released to date was necessary in order to refute fake news narrative and provide the public with a taste of the truth, i.e. future events. So the information that has been released so far publicly and to people in Congress is only the minimum amount of information necessary to give people some idea of what's really happening, but not enough that it would expose the entire operation. And then Q says, conf sources, in parentheses, House, that you gain critical info from, it's supposed to be info in there, from, is simply one of many vehicles used by design, controlled at the top, no leaks for this reason, Q. That second part, Q is saying that they have to wall off the information and not allow anything to leak out that's not supposed to leak out, because Congress and the intelligence communities leak like crazy. They leak things they're not supposed to. So, like the Huber investigation is an example. All of that information, the investigation, is completely locked down with no leaks, because if any of it leaked, it would give the deep state information they need to skate on these charges, and they don't want that to happen. So the reason why some people, even people in Congress, are not getting information is they need to make sure nothing gets leaked. Okay. Then there was a correction, and I corrected it. Q meant to put in the word info between critical and from. And then we have a long post by Q. I'm just going to read this to you. The declassification of all requested documents and more will occur. This is not a game. Do not let personal emotional desires do it now. What is taking so long now? Don't let those emotions take over. Logical thinking and strategy should always be applied. Game theory. Game theory is when you're playing chess or any kind of a game, moves and counter moves, strategies, trying to figure out how is my opponent going to move? How do I move to counter their actions? We all want to see equal justice under the law. New threats, investigations from the Southern District of New York, Adam Schiff in House Intelligence, and Maxine Waters in the House Financial Services Committee. In an effort to delay and prevent the release, insurance extension will fail. Transparency is the only way forward. Define the following: treason, sedition, subversion. Conspiracy to commit treason, sedition, or subversion. Do you understand and fully appreciate the gravity of the situation? Do you understand and fully appreciate what POTUS endures each and every single day? Might want to think about that. He loves this country. He loves you. We must stand together in this fight. There is evil in the world. There is darkness in this world. There are those in power who wish to control and enslave you, to keep you sedated, to keep you unaware, to keep you blind. This will be on our timetable, and we will deliver transparency and prosecution. There is simply no other way. Except one is in brackets. And people have been asking, what is the except one? Well, there is one way to do this, and there's only one way to do this, and that is how they're going to do it. They're not going to do it any other way. I don't think we need to read too much into that. There was an error made. Q actually wrote county instead of country, so we fixed that. Q then reminded us that the information involved in these cases, some of it has to be classified, some of it does not have to be classified. Q posted this link. It's to a document that explains why information may be classified and when it may not be classified. Just a reminder to us that I think whatever can be declassified will be. Okay, we got, on the left-hand side, we have a statement. It's from the Office of the Press Secretary. And this is from September 17th, when the President ordered the declassification of documents related to FISA abuse. And then on the right-hand side, we've got a couple of tweets by the President. All right, so let me read the tweets by the President first. The President said, "I met with the Department of Justice concerning the declassification of various unredacted documents. They agreed to release them, but stated that so doing may have a perceived negative impact on the Russia probe. Also, key allies called to ask not to release. Therefore, the Inspector General has been asked to review these documents on an expedited basis. I believe he will move quickly on this, and hopefully other things which he is looking at. In the end, I can always declassify if it proves necessary. Speed is very important to me and everyone." All right, so the DOJ said the release, the public declassification, would have a negative impact on the Russia probe. It would. If the intelligence community declassifies the corrupt basis of the Mueller investigation when the President is exonerated of any charges, people are not going to have faith in the investigation. So it's best to wait until Mueller's investigation is over and then release those documents. Now, on the left-hand side, we have a list of things that are going to be declassified, and that includes the remaining pages of the Carter Page FISA application, FBI interviews with Bruce Orr, reports and interviews regarding Carter Page's FISA application, publicly release all text messages related to the Russia investigation from James Comey, Andrew McCabe, Peter Strzok, Lisa Page, and Bruce Orr. Those are the things that are going to be declassified and released. Previously, the President said he put the timing of the release of those documents in the hands of Inspector General Mike Horowitz. Q has told us that William Barr and FBI Director Chris Wray have said they're going to take over the timing and the release of that information and what is going to be redacted. Basically, it's not going to be in the hands of Horowitz anymore. Okay. Q posted this. We've got a couple of tweets from the President on the right-hand side. The President said, "I hereby demand a second investigation after Schumer of Pelosi for her close ties to Russia and lying about it." And there's an article to Politico about Nancy Pelosi contradicting some things she said about not meeting Ambassador Kislyak. And then on the left-hand side, tweet by the President, "I hereby demand and will do so officially tomorrow that the DOJ look into whether or not FBI, DOJ infiltrated or surveilled the Trump campaign for political purposes, and if any such demands or requests were made by people within the Obama administration." That is a tweet from May 20th, 2018. Q said, "Review time." And Anon posted a prayer request. It said, "Anons, you've been my fam and my friend since Q came to town, October 28th, 2017. I love you so much. I have to go take a very sick dog to the vet and to get put down tonight because her cancer has gone too far. If my significant other were still alive, I'd reach out, but brain cancer got him a few years ago. If my parents and best friends were alive, I'd reach out to them, but they're in heaven now too. So you guys are the ones I know I can lean on for a little support, because saying goodbye, even to the bloody old doggy, can be so hard. Our time together here with Q has taught me how connected we are, and even though we may never meet, I thank God for you guys. And I stay strong for my suffering pal tonight, because where we go one, we go all. You guys helped me say goodbye to a very old dog last winter too. You helped me so much. I will introduce you all to my loved ones when we meet in heaven someday. For now, thank you, friends, for letting me share my sadness. I need to stay strong for some upcoming battles, and you help me more than my words can ever convey." And Q responded, "Thoughts and prayers. May you be comforted by the outpouring of love surrounding you, Q." All right. Ben Garrison of Gur Graphics posted a meme of the president pushing an emergency button, sounding an alarm. And Q said, "Thank you, Patriot." Garrison does follow Q. And Anon looked at the alarm and noticed there was a Q on top of the alarm. It said, "Such a lovely Q." And then another Anon said he needs to be invited to the White House. And Q said, "All he needs to do is ask." Someone on Twitter named Lessa tweeted about the NCIS episode and their discussion of Q on the show. So this is a video, and there may be copyright issues with this, so I'm not going to include it, but you can check it out. And there's just a discussion on a TV. So it's a TV show that has a discussion on a TV show where they're discussing QAnon, and this woman comes out of the bedroom and she's talking to these guys like, "QAnon, you guys talking about Area 51, tinfoil hats, some conspiracy theory?" So the point is, TV show NCIS is now talking about Q. And Q reposted that Twitter status and said, "Filters are picking up many references tonight. Desperate to sway opinion, Q." And Anon posted the video that mocked Q, and then Q, this is on the morning of the 20th, said, "When their attempts to silence through the print fail, they must now include in TV and video." There's a link to a YouTube video. Why put so much attention into a so-called conspiracy? Why is it critically important for them to change your opinion or prevent you from opening your mind? Q. This is a link to Comedy Central's little skit they did mocking Q. This is one of the very first ones that came out last year. I have this, and it's a link to a Maggie Haberman tweet and a tweet about from Senator Susan Collins. And Q asked, "Do you think nobody is paying attention to the drops, Q?" Reposted this drop, "Dan Coates out for soon." That was a drop we had from a couple of days ago. So the drop about Dan Coates, Director of National Intelligence, being forced out as a rumor has not been reported by anyone in the mainstream media. However, it has been all the buzz on Twitter the last couple of days. So here's Maggie Haberman's tweet a month ago. POTUS told New York Times in Oval Office he was happy with Coates. Senator Susan Collins, DNI Dan Coates is a good friend, former Senate colleague, and leader of integrity who has always served our country well. All right, so why are these people tweeting about rumors about Dan Coates being forced out that started on Q's board? Okay. The president tweeted this out. "The press has never been more dishonest than it is today. Stories are written that have absolutely no basis in fact. The writers don't even call asking for verification. They're totally out of control. Sadly, I kept many of them in business. In 6 years, they'll all be bust." That is true. The president has this uncanny ability to get the media to cover him. And it's going to be very interesting when he leaves the office because they won't have a whole lot to write about. Q posted a link to the president's tweet. "Stories are written that have absolutely no basis in fact. Facts matter" is the hashtag Q. All right, going back to Maggie Haberman. And Anon posted a picture of Maggie Haberman sitting what looks like on a train. There's Q drops all around her. And then Anon said, "Didn't see Dan Coates in the MSM the last couple of days, meaning there is no other logical reason for them to post outside of being hi to Q's drops. P.S. Did Haberman stay on the train?" So Q reposted that. And if you're not familiar with what that's all about, this was from November 20th. Maggie Haberman put out this cryptic tweet. OH, I believe this overheard on the Q train intercom. "Attention passengers, the intercom phone is for emergencies only. It is not for asking the conductor questions." Signaling her buddies in the deep state. Okay. Anon93, let's see, this is the morning of the 20th, found out that there is a headline in his local newspaper that Dan Coates is going to be forced out pretty soon. And then reposted that drop about Dan Coates from the board. Q said, "What a coincidence." Q. So now newspapers are picking up and running stories based on chatter that's going on Q's board. All right. Donald Trump tweeted out a quote from Ronald Reagan: "When you can't make them see the light, make them feel the heat." And Q reposted the president's status, and we have a little meme here. And Q has been telling us we need to get hip to memes. I've been putting out some more memes lately to try to help get the message out. And now we have this from Q. "We are the news now." We are certainly becoming the news. All right. Q posted a link to a tweet by John Solomon. That's an article about Bruce Orr and work that his wife Nellie Orr did to compile information that was used against Donald Trump. Now, this is not the Steele dossier. It looks like now there's 4 or 5 opposition research pieces that were compiled mostly by people connected to Fusion GPS that were going to be used against the president for surveillance. So there's a link to the article. It's good reading. I would definitely check it out. All right. Q then posted a link to Sarah Carter's tweet, and she has an article, breaking news, about former FBI Chief Counsel James Baker, who originally believed Hillary Clinton should have been charged with regard to how she handled her emails. And that is interesting because James Comey said no prosecutor would prosecute this case, but his very own chief counsel said, no, actually, she should have been prosecuted. So that whole story is unraveling, and you can read that article. It's a good read. And Anon noticed that the president tweeted out a video that has to do with the Army Corps of Engineers building the wall. This is the president's video. You can see little machines there building the wall, and in the lower right-hand corner you'll notice the little red castle of the Army Corps of Engineers. So Q reposted the Anon's drop and said, "Red Castle, where had you seen that before?" Q. And then an Anon posted this meme. It's the Red Castle, Green Castle decode from last March. And Q said, what an amazing coincidence. All right. As I said, William Barr has announced that the Mueller investigation could be finished as early as next week. Q posted a link to that CNN article and said, right after Barr's installed, what a coincidence, is the news moving fast? Q. The news is indeed moving fast. We have this tweet from Adam Schiff. Dan Coates has been doing an outstanding job as Director of National Intelligence. He speaks truth to power and gives policymakers the best intelligence possible. He is loyal to the country and the Constitution, and that is as it should be. So when you don't know what to think of someone in a position like that, look at what people like Adam Schiff have to say, and that'll give you some idea. So Q reposted that link to Adam Schiff's tweet and said, "We really started something, didn't we? Well, now we know he, Dan Coates, is a bad apple. Fly Coates fly in hashtags." Q. All right, fly Coates fly. Previously, and this was mostly back in December of 2017, Q was using hashtags fly Al fly, fly Roths fly to indicate people who were going to be soon departing whatever they were doing. On December 5th of 2017, we saw this post, fly Al fly, runway lights being turned on, fly high Q. 2 days later, Al Franken announced he was resigning from Congress amid allegations of sexual misconduct. All right. When solving math equations, some things must be done first. We have the mnemonic PEMDAS, because when you're doing math equations, first you take care of things inside of parentheses, then you take care of exponents, then multiplication, then division, addition, and subtraction. Q posted this: Mueller must deliver the report to the Department of Justice prior to the Inspector General releasing the next installment. I believe that's talking about the Inspector General's report on FISA abuse. You will understand why in the coming weeks. I don't think it's too hard to understand, actually. Normies must first have confidence that the president was cleared of all wrongdoing by Mueller in a legitimate investigation. Then, the corrupt basis for the start of that investigation by the Obama administration can be exposed. So, certain things have to be done in a certain order. Q has a long post that I broke into several sections. I'm just going to walk through this. Bunch of links in there and we'll look at them all. So, in brackets we have topic taxpayer theft, insider versus outsider, retain control versus lose control. Kennedy was an outsider, in brackets, he was assassinated. Reagan was an outsider, in brackets, assassination attempt. POTUS is an outsider, in brackets, class high. How much money, cash in parentheses, was sent by the Federal Reserve to Iraq for the Iraq War? Links to 3 articles. Okay, so The Guardian says there was $12 billion sent to Iraq during the Iraq War. News from Reuters, this article says there was actually $4 billion, and this is a CNBC article that says there was $40 billion in cash flown to Iraq during the war. And no one seems to really know what happened to that money. I've read these articles, and it is astounding that there's no accountability for where that money went. So Q then asks how much money, cash, was confiscated from the Iraqi central bank. Links to an article, example, not intended for public awareness, and then there's a New York Times article. The story on the Iraqi central bank. Just before U.S. forces came into Baghdad, there was a breach of the Iraqi central bank. Saddam Hussein's forces took about 900 out of the central bank, but there were still billions and billions of dollars floating around that country, and no one ever really knew, like I said, where that money went to. Most of it was never accounted for. In this article, the New York Times article, I'm just going to read a quote here. Billions of dollars have been taken out of Iraq over the last 10 years illegally. This is from an investigator. In this investigation, we thought we were on the right track for some of that lost money. It's disappointing to me personally that we were unable to see the close of this case for reasons beyond our control. He is equally frustrated that the Bush administration, apart from his office, never investigated reports that huge amounts of money had disappeared. And after his investigators found out about the bunker, this is a bunker where $1 billion was found. They never investigated reports that huge amounts of money had disappeared. And after his investigators found out about the bunker, the Obama administration did not pursue that lead either. Mr. Bowen said his investigators briefed the CIA and the FBI on what they'd found. But Bowen added that he believed one reason American officials had not gone after it was because it was Iraqi money stolen by Iraqis. Well, that may or may not be the case. So the FBI and CIA were alerted to all this missing money. FBI said it's not our jurisdiction. CIA didn't want to chase it down. This money was actually money put together from a United Nations fund that was set up to rebuild Iraq after the war. So nations donated money to this fund. A lot of this money came right out of the Federal Reserve Bank in New York and was shipped to Iraq as cash on pallets. It was shrink wrapped. They get it to the country and it goes everywhere. Anyone who got their hands anywhere near that got some of the money. Then we're just going to continue here. Q asked, if it worked in Iraq, why not replicate in Iran? How much money, cash, was sent to Iran? That would be 1.7 billion. 1.3 billion was sent in wire transfers, and the wire transfers were $99.9 million each. And the reason why they did that is they kept them under 100 million because then it wouldn't require congressional approval. And then 400 million in cash was sent there in planes. Q has previously asked, where did the planes go? How many planes were there? Where did the planes land? Where did the money go? Who oversaw that operation? Right? And Q has suggested that that money did not go where we think it went. So Q then has some questions. Who controls the distribution of funds? Who accounts for the funds? Who has access to the funds? Who really has access to the funds? Do funds return in the form of political donations? I think we can assume that they do. Do funds return in the form of massive donations to foundations and or institutes? Do the funds return in the form of offshore bank accounts for future payments and payoffs? Replicate the environment, green, aid, assist, etc. These are green programs, financial aid assistance to foreign nations, all these programs where we pour tons of taxpayer money. Q is suggesting that all those programs are actually funneling money back to politicians. There are no honest controls in place, no checks and balances in place, no safeguards in place. Threat of an outsider becoming president, loss of control. It's a link to that YouTube video. This video will get Donald Trump elected. Trillions of dollars at stake, controlled by a group of special interests, illusion of democracy. These are quotes from the video. Welcome to the real world, in brackets. We cannot afford to lose this rare opportunity to right the wrongs. We, the people, must reclaim what is rightfully ours. We must rise. We must fight. God bless the United States of America. Q. Okay, this is an old drop from Q, January 7, 2018, about a year ago. U.S. taxpayers are paying for it all. Paris Accord, scam, trillions. Red Cross, scam, billions. Foreign aid, scam, trillions. War, scam, trillions. The hole is deep. Feel sick yet? Q. Yeah, it's not easy taking the red pill. Okay. On February 9th, Q gave us a timeline of events that would commence as William Barr took over as Attorney General, and then reposted that drop on the morning of the 18th and said, timeline is attached. What has occurred since? Future proofs past. Track and update. Think calendar. Q. So, this is my best reckoning of what has and hasn't happened yet. The blockade removal, Scaramucci model. I'm not exactly sure what that means. I mean, I know what it means as far as Scaramucci removed people from the White House, but it sounds like Q is suggesting that Matt Whitaker has removed people from the Department of Justice and FBI. I don't know who those people are. We do know that the blockade, one of the blockades installed was Mueller. Mueller's report is due next week, so that blockade will soon be gone. Rod Rosenstein is believed to be leaving the Department of Justice in March. The President has nominated a replacement, and so that'll be going pretty quickly. Bruce Orr removal, that'll be soon. 1 through 4 removal, I think that'll be soon. Barr has been installed, that's done. Barr meeting with Whitaker to review Rosenstein's notes regarding reservations about the D class. I think that has actually already happened. That happened when Q talked about those quotes 3 or 4 days ago from the meeting that Barr had with Mueller and Rosenstein. I think they've already hashed that out, so I believe that's done. Barr executes order to D-class, plus provide members of the House Committee long requested information. That is going to happen soon. Whitaker remains the Department of Justice senior staff. That's already done. Barr meeting with Huber and OIG soon, and the Inspector General's report will be coming soon. Sebastian Gorka wrote an article criticizing Ann Coulter for her waffling support of President Trump. One of the Anons reposted a link to that article. Ann Coulter is now a never Trump conservative. That's funny. Q reposted that and said, Mitt Romney, Mitt Romney, Mitt Romney. Wire transfers are a convenient way of transferring money. So the Anons are thinking, so we're looking for 3 wire transfers. Tell POTUS we love him. We love you, President Trump. Q then posted a link to Ann Coulter's tweet and said, happy hunting. This is Ann Coulter's tweet. I feel so sorry for Mitt Romney, but sorrier for the country that will never have him as president. And then there's another tweet from her, and this is from 2012 when she was supporting Romney for president. 6 years later, poor Utah Republicans, if only they had a carpetbagging, flip-flopping, Trump-bashing, clueless twit of a Senate candidate. Oh wait, they do, that's Mitt Romney. That is when Romney was running for Senate last year. So Q asked, hypocrite, history of flip-flopping. So Ann Coulter is kind of known for flip-flopping about Trump, and she's accusing Romney of the same thing. Wire transfers are an effective way at swaying opinions. Shills come in many different forms. Race to build a base, followers, to build worth to draw funds. Common these days, Q. We have this post from the board. Elizabeth Coe from Tampa Bay Times here. Doing on a balanced story on Q for this Sunday's paper. Wanted your input on the biggest thing that happened this week. Will be a fair article. Been following this board somewhat, so save the flaming comments and give honest input. EK. A couple of Anons, well, a lot of Anons responded to her actually. This one said, honest answer. Go back to the beginning and read at least 300 breads, then come back with some real questions. Or go to the top of the board and read the best of Q proofs. See for yourself. Or not. Q replied to her, we are the news now, worldwide. And there's a picture of a tweet. Let me get you a little zoomed in this. This is from John MacDonald, MP, and he's a British, I think he's in Parliament. He responded to somebody in a tweet with just the letter Q. Q was just hitting everything. All right. In an episode of this TV show FBI, which I do not watch, a researcher writes coded messages, including notes from an interview that he had with a mysterious figure named Q. The messages, when they're decoded, uncover a plot to hide adverse effects from a batch of tainted drugs manufactured in China. So that's kind of the story with this, right? And this FBI detective asks Q, who the hell is Q? All right, so Lion of Judah tweeted that out, and Q reposted it and said this: be ready for the Q, Anons. Eyes on increasing plus each day. You are the news now. Handle with care, Q. So be ready for the Q. That, I think, is a suggestion that one of these reporters is going to have to ask the president to confirm whether Q is legit or not. That's the Q, the question a lot of us have been waiting for. Denise and I have disagreements about it. She doesn't think it's going to happen, and it shouldn't. And I think, yes, let's get this over with so we can move on. But we need to handle with care. So when the Anons wrote this, Anons, I take handle with care is this: picture those for whom you care who are still in the dark, don't want to listen, can't hear the truth, and how at one point you also didn't know what you know now. You can't make them drink through a fire hose of woke, but you can drop something that makes them think. Let logic prevail. Thanks, QT. I liked this response from an Anon. It's a quote. I don't know who he's quoting, but it is never to be expected in a revolution that every man is to change his opinion at the same moment. There has never yet been any truth or any principle so irresistibly obvious that all men believe it at once. Time and reason must cooperate with each other to the final establishment of any principle, and therefore, those who may happen to be first convinced have not a right to persecute others, on whom conviction operates more slowly. The moral principle of revolutions is to instruct, not to destroy. All right, so John Solomon on Hannity said about the Mueller investigation, he said there will be no charges against the president recommended. And Solomon has been pretty accurate on his information so far. Q said, but you knew that already. Hence why AS Adam Schiff, SDNY, and Maxine Waters, MW, are attempting to keep the insurance schemes going post-Mueller. Fear. The fun begins directly after. We will make the Super Bowl look like a puppy show. Q. So, immediately after the Mueller report is out, it is going to be showtime, and I'm looking forward to it. And there ain't no party like a QAnon party. So get your dance shoes ready. It's going to be party time. Paul Sperry is reviewing transcripts of Andrew McCabe's congressional testimony. He came upon this. McCabe said Rosenstein tried to bounce GOP Representative Nunes, head of the House and Intel Committee, from the Capitol basement skiff when he and McCabe briefed the intelligence gang of 8, about opening an espionage and obstruction investigation on Trump in May of 2017. All right. We don't know if this is true because McCabe has a tendency not to always tell the truth. I believe this was the intelligence gang of 8 at the time. Paul Ryan, Nancy Pelosi, Mitch McConnell, and Chuck Schumer, and then Devin Nunes and Adam Schiff for the House Intel Committee, Burr and Feinstein for the Senate Intel Committee. Okay. Julian's Rum posted Paul Sperry's tweet and then an old crumb from Q on, which was actually originally posted January 29th of last year, and said, now this is a Q proof, skiff TC cap. So this was the original post. Not going to read the whole thing, but this was a real-time post. So Q wrote, real-time, 7 congressional members plus 3 senators plus 2 former Obama senior officials plus 4 outside contractors who have no classified top sensitive level clearance at a SCIF in the DC Capitol. Top security clearance is mandatory for admission. How is that possible? We see you, Q. Now, this is a live, real-time post from January 29th. Okay. Q reposted that tweet and wrote this. What is the process to enter a SCIF? What security level must exist in order to gain entry? Interestingly enough, members of Congress don't go through background checks, and they don't actually obtain security clearances, unlike everybody else does. But anybody else who's not a member of Congress, who doesn't have a need to know, they would have to have a security clearance. Can non-security level persons be invited to participate? I would not think that would be legal. Do logs exist for each designated meeting? I'm sure they do. Do logs record time in and out and who went in or who went out? I'm sure they do. Ability to enter a range without paper trail? Probably not. Okay, we have these 2 next lines, and Q says this is not for anons. So I think it is for Adam Schiff and potentially McCabe and Comey and the Black Hats. RT, real-time, January 29, identities, and then identities, January 29, 2018, and run back 1-2. Again, this is not for us, it's not for the anons. I think this is a warning to them, the bad guys, that their tracks have been recorded. There's a paper trail, and they're going to be in trouble for this. Then Q continues, SCIF logs can be very revealing. Hussein's USS Secret Service code name was Renegade, defined Renegade, noun, a person who deserts and betrays an organization, country, or set of principles. Synonyms, traitor, defector, deserter, turncoat, and betrayer. All right, so I think he was sending a warning to the deep state. New research has suggested that chemicals used in vinyl flooring and fire retardants used on furniture may pose greater health risks than previously suspected. Here's a link to a sciencenews.org article. Q reposted that link and also reposted a crumb from last April where Q had dropped some information about that. I'll get to that in a minute. And then Anon asked, did Anons ever figure out what Q meant with baby on the floor, hands in mouth, the start? What was this Syria false flag? Q wrote, finally, chemicals, learn our comms. And then after reposting that crumb, Q wrote about the new article, You Have More Than You Know, 5x5. Q. 5x5 means loud and clear. This is the original post by Q. Pharma, class D, in brackets, water, air, chemicals pushed for home use cleaning, cancer, baby on the floor, hands and mouth, the start, vaccines, not all, tobacco, opioids, ultimate win, death plus money, the Fed, Rothschilds, conspiracy. So I guess, the president tweeted out this morning that he wants 5G and 6G. He believes it's safe. I know a lot of people are concerned about 5G, cell phones, and they're concerned about chemtrails, and they're concerned about all these things. And look, I think we have to trust the president. He has addressed Big Pharma. He has addressed a lot of this corruption. If the president knows it is a risk to us. I think he's going to do the right thing. I think this is going to require an extreme level of trust between us and the president. We don't have as much information as we think we have. I think the president is much more well advised than we are. Moving along. A judge ruled today that federal prosecutors broke the law while negotiating a plea deal with Jeffrey Epstein. So there's a link to an article there from the Miami Herald, and Q posted that link and said equal justice under the law or a rigged system. Being a Clinton donor really pays off. Q has told us that the days of wealthy elites and corrupt politicians getting a free pass are over. There is going to be equal justice under the law. Okay, we have this post from Q. It's about that Jesse Smollett hoax. Hate hoax by Smollett, in brackets false flag, designed to pass the anti-lynching law, gets wall-to-wall fake news coverage. Real hate, real violence in brackets, and fascism carried out by members of Antifa gets zero coverage. Reconcile. 1 equals 1. Does this make sense? When will the FBI conclude their investigation into Antifa? That's a good question. I hope that's going to be soon. What happens if the phone records of Smollett leak? Oh, that would be even more embarrassing. Q asks, who did he talk to multiple times prior to turning himself in? It would be very interesting if he talked to Kamala Harris and Cory Booker before he turned himself in. Political forces at work? I'm guessing so. Enemy of the people? Q. Enemy of the people is the fake news. And there's a Fox News article about how Jesse Smollett's alleged hate crime hoax sheds light on a lot of other hate crime hoaxes that have been pulled off over the last few years, and the mainstream media's tendency to ignore them. Q posted a link to that article and then wrote, notice a trend by liberals and Ds, fake, fake, fake. They will stop at nothing to regain power. Wake up, America. Q posted this meme. On the left-hand side, you have a bunch of Q people with Q t-shirts on. According to the mainstream media, this is fringe. And then you have, on the right-hand side, dressed in odd get-ups. And according to the mainstream media, this is normal. Q wrote, memes, memes, and more memes. Why are memes so important? Q. Well, memes are important because they bypass censorship algorithms on social media, but they also convey messages in non-verbal forms. You don't have to get into a discussion with someone. You just post a meme, and it conveys a message, and you don't have to have a discussion about it. They either accept it, the truth in there or not. So we had some memes being posted this afternoon by folks on Twitter. And, here we have one, meme war QAnon, and Q reposted that. Truth, facts matter. We have another meme here, patriots have no skin color. And Q wrote in hashtags, we stand together, united, not divided. Where we go one, we go all. Q. Forbes magazine published an article basically arguing that sky-high taxes, soaring debt, and infrastructure nightmares have made California's future very uncertain. Q reposted a link to that article and wrote this. They know what's best for our country. Pelosi, California rep since 1987. Waters, California rep since 1991. Schiff, California rep since 2001. Feinstein, California rep since 1992. Harris, Lou. Lead by example. California estimated $2 trillion in debt. Homelessness population on the rise. Highest taxes in the country. Undocumented immigrants in California versus the rest of the nation. Uncontrollable state government spending. If you can't fix your own home state, what makes you think you can fix the country? Then there's a quote from the article. If you're living in one of the other 49 states, you should learn the lesson that is California. If you're living in California, there's always the lesson of how Michigan came to be governed by a more centrist government. Of course, that came after the failure of the prior government. For now, however, for all its concern for sustainable foods and products, California is on a high-speed rail to unsustainability. Hashtag facts matter. Q. The North Carolina Elections Board has ordered a new election to be held for the U.S. House seat in the 9th Congressional District after corruption was found in the use of absentee ballots. Q posted a link to that news article. Welcome to the Democrat Party. They will stop at nothing to regain power. Time to adopt voter ID law. And I believe that is the last post by Q for the day. So be encouraged, Patriots. Keep us in prayer. Keep Q and the team in prayer. Keep the president in prayer. Thank you for your support. Thank you for sharing this on social media. That is all I have for you on this update. This is Paramedic signing off. I will catch you on the next broadcast.